be involved in helping to deliver the sector deal, leading on people and skills. Tell me a bit about that. What does that look like and who's involved?
It's going to be quite an interesting challenge for the industry. I think from the outset, nobody said it's going to be easy, but this is all aspects of the industry working together in collaboration. It's also government departments working in collaboration to bring together a deal which they've agreed. And as you say, the key point on this is about the people and the skills that are needed to develop the industry up to 2030, which is about as far as we can see into the future on something like this. There's a couple of groups that will be leading this. We have the Investment and Talent Group, which will be leading on the strategy and ensuring it's delivered. We have an HR forum who will be looking at the more detailed aspects to make sure it's pragmatic and feasible as we take things forward. And we have a cross-sector group because it's very important that we enable people to be able to move between the sectors as well as to learn best practice from others and share the approach that we take. And so the early stages is trying to understand how do we do this with the aim of putting a plan in place for the first 18 months to take most of this work forward.
Okay, and what are the priorities immediately, straight away?
We've got some short-term targets that have been set that we will need to meet. So, for example, by the approximately November or the end of the year, we have to set a baseline and then establish some targets for the number of Black, Asian, minority ethnicity people within the industry. We also have committed as an industry to two targets. One of them is 33% women as a gender balance, but with the ambition of aiming for 40% over that time period. We've also said that we need to find a way to increase the number of apprentices in the industry. So I think there's two sides to that. One, that's by keeping the people in the industry and upskilling them, training them, developing further, but also finding routes for other people to come in. And along those lines, it's also looking at what do we do to support and put mechanisms in place for serving military. Some of those may actually still be in the industry, or maybe in the industry as, for example, reservists, but also bringing them in, because obviously they're coming in at a level where they've already got an established skill base, which is extremely useful within the industry. And so they're the early stage things. There's considerably more, so we will be doing work on, for example, the T-levels as they get introduced. Working with the Institutes of Technologies, they come in. We're also looking at R&D staff within universities, as well as a number of others. But we need to make sure that we've got some priorities, because this is long term. We can't do it all in the early stages, and so it's going to take a bit of time to impact and implement the plan. But we're the early stage of trying to work out how do we do this so it has an impact and it's meaningful.
Okay. We've spoken before about the opportunities that offshore wind will increasingly bring to host communities and beyond. Do you think there's more that needs to be done to ensure that young people and people in general in those communities can access the opportunities?
Easy answer is yes. I think there's considerably more that can be done. I think this is a huge opportunity if we make the most of it for those communities, in that this will bring the opportunity for jobs, and we've got to ensure that people in those communities feel that it's there for them as well. It's not just something that's happening in their area and they can't engage with it. And so that is going to be looking at how do we provide work experience. And it's one of the big issues is trying to ensure that education and employers do talk to each other. And work experience is is an excellent way of ensuring that young people can make the decisions that they need to when it comes to the potential for career choices and things. I think there's a lot of opportunity for jobs in those areas. So we've got operations and maintenance, we've got potential for manufacturing facilities, we've already seen some go in, as well as incubators, so the development of new companies. So the more people we've got working in those environments, the more opportunity there is for young people to see that there are jobs that they can go into. It's also changing the way we do things. So it may be working with communities that we're not accustomed to working with, looking at other ways of doing things, different approaches. One of the things that for me makes this really exciting is we're at the very early stages of looking at what sort of culture do we want in this industry. And from the outset, the industry has said we are looking at diverse, inclusive, and we need to have equality. So the inclusive bit is to make sure that people feel valued, irrespective of class, education, age, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, etc. So we've got some work to do between now and then about making sure that they all feel that there's a role for them within the industry, and also to make sure that people can see from the outside what the industry looks like. We're not there yet, we've got quite a long way to go to increase the interaction of the industry. Why would people want to come into it? But on a personal goal, one of the things that I would look forward to is 2030, when we're not having this sort of discussion because the values in the industry are established and we've achieved all of this, but it's second nature. It's no longer we're sitting talking about how, what proportion of women, as well as the ethnicity of people in there. So, long way to go, a lot of work to do. It's really exciting.
Thank you.